now quickly take the opportunity to hear a voice, a prominent voice, a respected voice from within the Union Cabinet. Dr. Jitendra Singh joining us on the telecast. Dr. Jitendra Singh, thanks very much for sparing your time here on NewsX. First of all, I think from a larger vision, the kinds of reforms that we have seen happen in the past 4 days, most of us were awaiting, and are a huge relief and clearly will put India into a medium-term path of excellence. They were much needed. So credit to your government, sir, for putting them together. The principal question, as you know, sir, is being raised right now of how much money is actually going directly to the people in terms of immediate relief. Do you think more needs to be done there or enough has been done?
No, I think, Rishabh,
sir,
to sum it up, I think it's a very futuristic package, very innovative package, and very diligently and very skillfully prepared economic package. If you go too much into the nuances of what is there, what is not there, and then try to find a means of criticizing it, there's no end to it, as goes the famous saying by Mark Twain, the economics too serious a subject to be left to economists alone. And luckily, me not being an economist, if you look at it from a non-economist view, I think this is a budget which has something to offer for everybody. Now, even if you go by today's press briefing by Nirmala Sitharaman, you had Manrega in it being, supported by 40,000 crore odd rupees. You had the health sector, you had the ease of business component, and I think there's been so much of innovation, as I said. Not even if, for example, if you take today's announcements, the health sector, which would be supported to have one infectious disease hospital in every block, is something I think which many other developed nations of the world are going to emulate sooner than later, considering the fact that they could be confronted with an epidemic of this sort in the times to come. Similarly, as far as the atomic energy is concerned, I'm just giving you straight answer, because if we go into the details of this, it will go on and on for long, since I'm also dealing with atomic. Now, atomic energy, I'm just giving you an example, some of the instances of the innovative approach. Atomic energy so far in India for almost 6 decades had functioned in a shroud of secrecy. And there was, of course, tremendous research going on. For the first time, it has opened up for non-atomic energy applications as well. For example, we are going to have, through this package, a designated reactor to build isotopes, which would come handy in the medical management, particularly that of the cancer patients, etc. Similarly, we have given financial support in this package to the irradiation units to be set up by means of atomic energy, which prolong the shelf life of the vegetables, the fruit. Similarly, if you take the area of space, the whole world acknowledges that today India is a frontline nation as far as space technology is concerned. And in fact, our images procured from Mars and other means are now being utilized even by NASA. But how to go about, how to further enhance it? So for the first time, there is an attempt to bring in privatization with discretion, which was considered a taboo all along. Similarly, if you go in different other sectors, whether it's farming, whether it is
Minister, if you'll allow me, let's look at it. I want to ask you the larger question and then discuss the specifics, because the one on ISRO and letting private companies use ISRO facilities is a great idea. You'll have a big boost to the private space industry in this country. Would you, in your opinion, sir, and it might be a personal opinion, would you classify the simple act of the reforms that have been done in the past 5 days as a new 1991 for India?
No, I would rather, I'm glad you asked that, Rishabh. I would say through this package of 20 lakh crore announced by Prime Minister and then spelled out by Nirmala ji over a period of 5 days, India has presented before the world a new opening to make a virtue out of adversity. if Corona confronted the whole world as an adversity, it is India which has taken the lead in converting it into an opportunity. And I'm sure in the days to come, this is going to be a blessing in disguise as far as India is concerned. The kind of investment that India is going to actually attract from outside as well, and the impetus on the domestic production, whether it's in the defense sector, and some of those sectors which, as I said earlier, were remaining untouched because it was considered to be a taboo to touch them. Now see the innovation part of it. Like another example comes to my mind, which was I think announced yesterday, about the airspace. 60% of our space alone was being used. The rest of the 40% of the airspace of India was not being used because it was under the defense monitoring, etc., and therefore it carried on as it had been over the years. For the first time, a decision has been taken, a very revolutionary decision, to use the larger amount of airspace available so that the aircraft frequency can increase, speed can increase, thereby the ticket to the passenger cost would increase, and finally I think it is going to add about 1,000 crore.
Yeah, this was the finance minister say. I think if you look at coal, if you look at farmers, if you look at all the things that have done, which had to be done, they were no-brainers. We were all waiting for them, and these are great moves. And the reason they are great moves, so people watching this broadcast, reforms cost you nothing. They don't cost the government money in terms of changing the rules. India is one of the largest bearers of coal, and yet we have to import it. If you can get in private investment and open up the coal industry, link it up with aluminium, you can do so much. So reforms, simple act of one nation per ration. It only costs the government the value of creating a server and doing some training, but you help many people. So that is genius and great that has happened, Jitendra Singh. But the only counter logic to this is that, you know, Dr. Singh,
just to add to what
carry
you're
on,
saying.
Make a point.
No, just to add to what you are saying, like for example, you refer to mining. We are going to have 500 mining blocks being opened up for auction, and the joint venture as far as the bauxite and the coal is concerned. Now, what is to collaborate what you were saying, I think in the last 6 years under Prime Minister Modi, one new opening that we've seen in every sphere is that there's been a lot of out-of-box planning and out-of-box path breaking happening. Even in the area of space, it was, I think, in 2016, it was Prime Minister Modi who arranged a 2 days brainstorming between the scientists from the space technology with the representatives of different ministries and departments to work out the means by which space actually could be used in various other infrastructure areas. And today you have space technology being used in the smart city projects, in the laying of the railway tracks, in the manning of the railway crossing, everywhere. And I think it's an extension of that out-of-box approach of Prime Minister Modi, which has distinctly come forth in this time of adversity. And this out-of-box approach which Prime Minister Modi actually had embarked in 2014 has beautifully come to the surface.
No, there is no doubt. So freeing up farmers from APMC licenses and all these kind of things. It's a great move. There is no doubt on that. But the singular issue, sir,
as a frontline leader in the world community, but also make India a role model to convert adversity into a virtue.
No, so we are looking at medium term is great, sir. But the singular issue is that for those companies and those industries that are facing an immediate cash crunch or the collapse in demand, now how do we quickly address that? Because those are also real things. We don't want companies going bankrupt, sir. Jitendra, can you hear me, sir? I was asking a specific question, but for those industries and companies facing an immediate cash crunch and a complete loss of demand, which require SOS help right now, how do we help them?
No, I think the manner in which a certain announcements has made as far as the GST is concerned, and also waiving off the EMIs and the installment for the next 3 months, and then the question arose that if the installment is waived off, the interest would not, so what would happen? Then I think the finance minister again worked on it and came out with another announcement that later on once the payment of the loan installment or whatever is regular, then the overall interest rate would be brought down by 2% or so. So I think it's a very long-term sport being offered to, because let's not forget that in the aftermath of this COVID pandemic, each one of us has to bear with some amount of hardship. In some cases more, in some cases less, in some cases longer, in some cases for a shorter while. And therefore, we have to actually put up with it. But as a responsible government and as a responsive administration under Prime Minister Modi, I think there has been a very sincere effort to try and come to the support and rescue and assistance of each segment of society.
Okay, a large
and
part
as far as cash is concerned,
yes.
If you go through the figure, I think that one-time 2,000 payment per month which was done has already reached more than 8 crore.
Okay, that helps a little bit, of course.
So there has been a cash in hand support even to the persons who were the most deprived.
So the other grouse is people
I was
who
just
come,
now seeing the figure of the
yeah, Jitendra Singh, the other grouse is people who come from middle classes, many of whom are worried about losing their jobs, losing their salaries.
To precise, 8.19 crore. Yes.
Yeah, so what about them, sir? I mean, should we subsequently now look to address them? It might not be a big major announcement, but keep on looking at those concerns as we go ahead. People who come from middle classes are worried about losing their jobs. Several industries, job losses are happening as we speak, sir.
No, certainly. I think this package has paved way for a long-term resolution to an epidemic or a crisis which was the first of its kind. And as all of us know, nobody was prepared for it. Even the medical fraternity, which is managing and treating COVID, was not prepared to face this kind of a crisis, because even the medical fraternity had been over the last 20-30 years managing mostly non-communicable disease like diabetes and heart attacks. And therefore, when you suggest to the common masses to observe the guidelines of social distancing and hygiene, etc., it sounds to be a new norm for them. So let's not forget that everybody has gone through some kind of a hardship, and the government has been. Now, as far as the cash in hand is concerned, I think it was government's responsibility to start from the most deprived section or the most have-not section, and therefore, to begin with itself, it was decided to deposit that 2,000 one time. At the same time, that ration 5 kg of cereal plus 1 kg of pulses or whatever, which has now been extended for a longer while. So it's both cash and kind, because after all, if you go to the market to purchase wheat or purchase rice, that would also cost you cash. So instead of paying directly for it, you are being given. So as you mentioned, the other group of maybe you are referring to the higher group of traders or business, they too would actually get benefit. But as a responsive government, I think it was expected to start from those who were the most deprived or who were the most hard-pressed. And that has manifested in each of our moves. For example, even when the movement of the stranded people started, we politely requested the families which had got stuck up, or the hostelers who were living in their different lodges or different hostel accommodations, that look here, try to distinguish between movement by necessity and movement by convenience. And therefore, let's first give priority to movement by necessity, which in other words means that
the priority argument can be bought, but empathy will have to be shown for people who are facing genuine loss. Okay,
so prioritization has happened.
Okay, couple of questions, sir, before I let you go.
Absolutely.
Now specifically now going ahead, there's a reasonable school of thought that if the government spends everything it has committed to spending, front loads it over the next 3 or 4 months, that in itself can pave the way for a major stimulus of getting money moving through the economy. Now, as a union cabinet, how actively are you as ministers looking to facilitate and speed up projects, dispensions, tenders, and move ahead with this rapidly?
No, absolutely. I'm glad you asked that, and this is a very valid point. In fact, we've already started working on it. Now, for example, I'll just give you a personal example because I'm directly looking after the northeastern region. Only yesterday, I had a video conference meeting with the chief secretaries of all the 8 states, and I said, look here, now our first priority would be to to take a pledge and to vote to ourselves that we would maintain the timelines of the project regardless of all the delay that has happened. Now, for example, we have a very ambitious project going on of the first ever train to Bangladesh from northeast, which would actually take off from Tripura, Agartala. And we had thought that we would flag off the first train somewhere in the middle of 2021. But this gap has already happened. So I was telling them, just to cite an example, the example of this project, and I said we would now work day and night, and therefore the idea of reaching out to them was to urge them to be faster in their documentations, in providing of utilization certificates. Because one thing I'll tell you, very interesting, Rashid, that even during last 3-4 weeks, when we had been functioning with just 33% of the staff in the office, and the rest of us were working from home, and I was reaching out to them through video almost every day, up to the level of section officers. Many of them were found working more during this lockdown period, even from home, and I was pleasantly surprised and impressed that many of them were working very hard even on Saturday, Sunday, the weekends, where normally they would not work when the office was closed. And one of our very junior colleagues told me, sir, the new mantra should be minimum attendance, maximum output. So what I'm trying to say is that everybody is motivated.
No, I back you fully on the motivation, sir. I think unprecedented people have rallied to the Prime Minister's cause.
Magic is so great.
Now, as you mentioned, there can always be critiques.
To make up for the loss, to make up for the lapse that has happened on account of COVID.
But Jitendra Singh, here's the reality check, sir. And I wanted to ask you specifically about the Northeast, but since you've already addressed that, here's the reality check, and I'll leave it on this thought. That, the economy is only just opening up. Literally today will be day 0 and day 1 tomorrow and day 2 after that. So as we open up, we don't know how much demand will come back. So is there hope, sir, that you as a government will continue to actively monitor the situation for people who require urgent SOS help, that this is not the be-all, end-all, that more help will be forthcoming as required in the future?
No, absolutely. I think this process has already started. Our Home Ministry is monitoring from minute to minute. Our other ministries are active round the clock. We have a control room which is very vibrant. And as you rightly said, from moment to moment, depending upon the new issues that crop up. Now, for example, when the movement of these migrant laborers started, the report arrived that when they deboarded the train, then they possibly in certain cases they had to walk to their destination or to their native places. Immediately, arrangements were made to carry them through buses. Then yesterday itself, the Home Ministry and the Railway Ministry have also decided to run trains on the other routes. So depending on the requirement arising each day, in fact from morning to evening, new measures and very innovative out-of-box initiatives are being undertaken.
Well, we are looking forward to them. A big congratulations to the government for having delivered the endemic reform that is certain to help us in the medium to long term. Our only request for help, sir, as a country would be that keep an eye open and be empathetic to people who are really suffering. Some people have lost their jobs, some people have seen their businesses wiped out, and they will require succor and help and assurance in the next few months, while the organic benefits of everything that you've announced start to percolate into the economy. Some will do it rapidly. Some of the reforms will take months to actually actualize. But, sir, please keep an eye out for people who have literally been ruined.
No, I would just...
yes.
As a concluding remark, I would just say, Rishabh, that let me assure you through your medium, government is extremely sensitive. And the Prime Minister himself is monitoring from moment to moment, and extremely sensitive to the inconveniences, the hardships being faced by any strata of society, by any individual, anywhere in the country. And therefore, I don't think there is any reason why there should be any misgiving about the government's forthcoming approach in whatever be the challenges.
Okay, we look forward, sir, because we are one team India. We have to do this together. There is no doubt. There are people in the middle classes who've lost their jobs, who've seen their businesses completely run out of money. There are, of course, specific sectors in tourism, in the restaurant industry, in the hotel industry that are really, really badly bleeding, and they will require some sort of help at some point of time. Keep at it, sir. Keep the morale up. I know it's an unprecedentedly difficult situation. Credit once again for the for the really important reforms, but please just keep a note of empathy for the people who are really suffering. That was Dr. Jitendra Singh. He handles several responsibility other than the PMO. Northeast, he's already mentioned. He handles, helps handle space, atomic energy, speaking to us on NewsX.
For more such videos, subscribe to the NewsX YouTube channel, hit the bell icon.